something wrong. I found my daughter's car today, and it smells like there's been a dead body in the damn car.
Okay, what is the 3-year-old's name?
Kaylee.
We were driving west on Cedar, and I saw a few hundred feet ahead, man lying on the sidewalk, man standing over him, kicking him in the head. This gentleman standing up just went over to the man lying down and gave him one vicious kick again, right in the head.
Sam Garrett weighed 100 pounds less than King, and he owed King $600.
And he kept saying to me, "Donald, I'll pay you, I'll pay you, I'll pay you." He repeated it a couple times. And after that, he just lapsed in unconsciousness.
Police reports allege that King spent $30,000 to buy off witnesses to the killing. It seemed to work. None showed up to testify at the trial. But based on the eyewitness account of Detective Tawny, a jury convicted Don King of second-degree murder after just 4 hours of deliberation. The judge met with King and his lawyer and reduced the jury's murder verdict down to manslaughter. Nobody from the prosecutor's office was present at the meeting.
Why would that reduction of penalty from second-degree murder to manslaughter take place on a Saturday morning without the proper authorities being notified? Something was very radically wrong, and it was a miscarriage of justice, there's no question about it.
Turnbaugh admitted to killing Lions back in 2002 to a friend at a party.
In the 2004 trial, a friend testified Turnbaugh admitted to shooting Declan Lions.
We all kind of just gathered around the fire, and he said, "I feel like I shot Declan, I shot Declan."
His attorneys say he had consumed psychedelic mushrooms that same night and also took the blame for 9/11.
Turnbaugh's defense team insisted he was mentally ill and the confession was made up.
Not guilty on first degree.
The truth will set you free. That's all I have to say.
A police affidavit filed July 6th in Orange County Court. Turnbaugh told officers he murdered someone named Declan and wished to turn himself in. According to the documents, Turnbaugh told the officers he shot Declan in the head with his .30-30 rifle.
This is the exact spot on Ngecha Road where Haji lost his life on the 11th of July. The matatu he was in was coming from in front of me, while the diplomat's car was coming from behind me from Peponi Road. The matatu Hassan was in had collided head-on with a private diplomatic car. This is the alleged car that was being driven by one Joshua Weld. Reports say he's an information program supervisor at the US Embassy, and many who witnessed the accident accused him of having been on the wrong. Immediately after the accident, he hurriedly jutted out of the country in unclear circumstances. What Latifa may not know, however, is that the alleged culprit has diplomatic immunity that would likely protect him from any prosecutions if indeed he was on the wrong.
The common assumption is that if a woman is killed, she's not robbed or raped, it's either the boyfriend or the husband.
Blake does have a history of alleged domestic violence against his first wife, and suspicion only mounts when the gunshot residue tests on his clothing come back positive.
From what they were learning about the relationship, it appeared that he had motive.
He didn't want the existence of the relationship to be public.
It was an agreement to get married, to drop the kidnapping charges against Robert Blake.
former stuntman named Gary McClarty claims that Robert Blake asked him to kill his wife. Another associate of Blake's, Ronald Duffy Hambleton, recounts a similar proposition.
They met for pancakes, and over pancakes, Robert Blake freely talked about, "I need you to kill my wife." Duffy Hamilton recommended to Robert Blake, you should start taking out the money for Duffy to do the job. And the idea was to take out small increments from various banks.
Blake had begun to withdraw $100 bills, $5,000 at a time in increments from about October of 2000 to March of 2001.
The prosecution knows they're facing an uphill battle. Not only is the defendant a celebrity, his deep pockets have afforded him the very best defense team money can buy.
We, the jury in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Robert Blake, not guilty of the crime of first-degree murder of Bonnie Lee Bakley.
A druggist in Fall River named Eli Bentz claimed that Lizzie had gone to his drugstore and had tried to purchase a poison called prussic acid. This was on the day before the murders.
Lizzie did have a motive to wit the money. She had a fairly intense animosity against the stepmother, and there was no other obvious suspect.
She had a dress in her hand and said she was going to burn it as it was all covered with paint.
Many feel that the dress was not covered in paint, that the dress was covered in blood. And Lizzie destroyed it because it was the dress she was wearing when she committed the murders. The house was not searched as thoroughly, perhaps, as it should have been, because one did not search through a woman's personal things.
Lizzie bought the best defense money could buy. The head of her defense was George Robinson, and he was the governor who appointed Justin Dewey, the judge who was pretty much heading up the trial.
Their verdict, not guilty.
A young woman in those days was considered to be a delicate flower, was not the sort of being who could possibly have committed anything as violent as that. If a woman did commit murder, it was usually by poison.
Authorities said it was this strip club that auto workers Ronald Evans and Michael Nitz argued with Vincent Chin, who was celebrating at his bachelor party.
Ronald Evans and Michael Nitz, who, like many at the time, blamed the Japanese for the U.S. auto industry's troubles. Even though Vincent Chin was not Japanese and worked in the auto industry himself, Evans was heard saying, "It's because of you, little MFs, that we're out of work."
Prosecutors say Chin left and was chased, then bashed in the head with a baseball bat.
When we pulled up, we found there was an Oriental gentleman. His skull was obviously fractured. There was brains laying on the street. And Chin was obviously in a fatal condition.
4 days after the attack, 27-year-old Vincent Chin died. Evans and Nitz pleaded guilty to manslaughter. They were sentenced to 3 years probation and more than $3,000 in fines. But they were cleared of federal charges of violating Chin's civil rights.
His wedding guests attended his funeral instead.
Preordained to be, I guess. It just happened.
We're talking about a 3-year-old little girl. Oh, my daughter finally admitted that the baby's in the store. I need to find her. There's something wrong. I found my daughter's car today, and it smells like there's been a dead body in the damn car. My daughter's been missing for the last 31 days.
Why are you calling now? Why didn't you call 31 days ago?
I've been looking for her and have gone through other resources to try to find her, which was stupid.
With regret, I'm here to inform you that the skeletal remains are those of the missing toddler, Kaylee Anthony.
No one else lied to their friends, to their family, to investigators. No one else benefited from the death of Kaylee Marie Anthony. Kaylee's death allowed Casey Anthony to live the good life.
She kind of threw the phone down in the dashboard and just said, "Oh my God, I'm such a good liar."
Duct tape found on Kaylee's skull, an unusual brand of duct tape discovered in the Anthony family home.
The fact that there's duct tape anywhere attached to that child's face is, to me, indication of a homicide.
Is that a Google search?
Yes, it is.
For?
The words neck breaking with a space in between.
The www.scipot.com chemistry/chloroform. How many times was that site visited?
According to the history, 84 times.
Chloroform was in fact found in the trunk of the car in several places throughout the trunk.
To the charge of first-degree murder, verdict as to count 1. We, the jury, find the defendant not guilty, so say we all, dated at Orlando, Orange County, Florida, on this 5th day of July, 2011, signed foreperson.